Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Mitch Moss along with Mike Somich. Paulie on vacation. We're live as always, downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is a spot. Busy hour coming up. We'll get to our best bets in about 45 minutes. Lou Finocchiaro on the show. He'll do a deep dive into his favorite NFL win total for the season. My guess it'll be on an under for a team that has kind of a high win total. Again, I'm going to go in fresh like everybody else in about 30 minutes. And right now we'll talk a little Major League Baseball. Chris Bennett joins the program. He is the sports book director here at Circa and the man in charge of all the Major League Baseball numbers. Good to see you again, my man. How are you today?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Doing really well. Did you have much action on the Boston Red Sox to take down the month of July?
So we're getting burned pretty badly with the Red Sox winning most wins in the month of July. Opened them 35-1, took bets at 35-1, 25-1, 20-1 for meaningful amounts. And with the overall handle we get on that market, doesn't come anywhere close to making up for those bets. And that's a bad result for us. And there was no sweat to it. They've won the month comfortably.
So how has the handle progressed in this bet? Because it's gotten a lot more popular over the last couple of years specifically. We've seen a lot of people here on VSiN love to get into it. Is this a bet that obviously you're not getting near enough the handle yet to be able to overcome an 80-1 shot, but are you starting to get closer to that total where it's a better bet for the book as well?
Yeah, I think we started offering this in 2024. So it's only like year 3 now. And, only 1 or 2 other places even offer it. So it's a market that a lot of people don't know about, but I thought it was an interesting thing to offer because we would put up a market for team to have the most wins for the entire regular season, and nobody really wants to bet it, even when you put out like ridiculously fair pricing. So I figured let's break up the season into individual months and see if people want to bet that. So it's a fun futures bet. You're going to have some big plus price on whatever team you bet, but it'll be decided in 30 days, and you don't have to wait 6 months to have an outcome. So in the 3 years we've been putting it up, we've seen increased interest. I think this program does a great job of talking about it and promoting it, and I think we still need to work to get the word out there that we have this market available, especially when you're in the season and it's only available for like a couple of days. I put this up on Tuesday. It's Friday today. It's going to come off the board tomorrow a little after noon. So it's not a huge window of time for people to bet it. And you do have to put in the work to handicap team schedules. So there is a burden on the customer.
That's the thing. You were mentioning this off the air. You can't put it up like 2 weeks in advance because so much can change in that window of time before the next month actually begins.
The thing I say to myself every time I put this market up, I say, what pitcher just went on the injured list? After I open this market. Seems to happen every single month.
It was McClanahan for this month, right?
So that's probably the biggest thing that's happened since Tuesday now. Rays definitely have a shot to have the most wins in August. And if they don't have McClanahan for 2 starts or maybe more, that's worth something. Yeah, and I can't sit here and be adjusting the odds on this most wins in a month market constantly. I've got other stuff to deal with. I want to be able to set the odds, know that they're decent, not terrible, but these injuries matter, and they just happen every day.
So, I'm sorry, Mike, would you say that July was the worst result ever then for Circa with Boston?
I don't know for sure, but it might be the worst month we've had. So that would be 15 of these markets we've offered up to this point. Yeah. We've had teams with longer odds win the month, but it was, a good result in most cases, but not this month.
Yeah, the Red Sox at a price. Gotcha. How are you adjusting your numbers for this month with the trade deadline? You have some pitchers that are considered to be possibly on the move, that are top-line starters that could end up on some of these teams. Does that factor into the decision-making process at all, or are you just saying, hey, the chips are going to fall where they may, we can't really predict that, we're just going to let whatever happens, happens?
So when I was handicapping the month, I did not make any projection on a team trading away or acquiring any star players. So the biggest name out there right now for the trade deadline is Tarik Skubal. And I did not presume that the Tigers won't have him when I put up their odds, which I made 40-1. We've taken a bet on them at 40-1, so there's interest in them. And obviously, if they keep Tarik Skubal, that's good for a Tigers bet. And if they trade him away, it's not. But there's just so many rumors out there. it's impossible to try to quantify any of this stuff until you know with certainty what a trade is.
Sure. Is there a team that you like or multiple teams that you actually like this month that you might have a bet on yourself?
I haven't found anything that I want to bet. I think the Phillies do have a very favorable schedule. I know things have not been going very well for them recently, but the way their pitching staff lines up at the beginning of the month, I think they're going to have Sanchez and Wheeler going right away. Their black hole of the rotation is going today on July 31st, so that's worth a little bit. But with their 3 top pitchers, I still think they have a decent lineup. The Phillies should be better than they are currently, and they need to do well this month. There's no sitting back and being comfortable with their position. So that's a team that I've got my eye on, but I'm not involved at the moment.
Have you ever considered having this up for the first 5 days of the month and kind of adjusting the numbers with some of that information, or does that just put too much stress on the book when you're not getting enough of a handle back?
I think in a perfect world where we have the data and technology and efficiencies in place, we could consider something like that. We don't have that currently, and it's just takes up too much time to try to price this stuff accurately for the revenue opportunity.
Fair enough. Chris Bennett, our guest, sportsbook director here at Circa Sports. Follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, along with Mike Somich. You mentioned how popular the Red Sox were in July. With one more day to bet this market, who's popular right now?
So we're seeing some bets on the Brewers and the Astros so far. Action's been a little slow up to this point. I think people might be waiting until the last minute just to know where we stand with trades up until the point that it comes off the board tomorrow. But again, the trade deadline's not till Monday. So no matter what you do, you're going to deal with a certain amount of uncertainty in this market here. But a few moves there on the Brewers and Astros.
Now, you mentioned the Red Sox may have been the worst month for Circa previously. Is that normal, where you're seeing the majority of the saturation of the bets at longer odds? Is it normally at shorter prices? And how often do you adjust these prices after they've been posted?
I wouldn't say that there's a trend in terms of it being the shorter odds or longer odds. If I put up something that people think is too high, they'll fire away at 60 to 1 or higher. The team that has been the longest odds over the couple of years we've been doing this has been the Rockies, for obvious reasons. And so far, haven't seen anyone take a shot on them for a meaningful amount. So we haven't gotten into any positions where it was like, oh, crap, if it all really comes together for this one team, we're going to get annihilated. It's all been pretty reasonable, but sometimes we get bets on the team with the shortest odds. Sometimes it's the longer odds as well.
Let's fast forward to playoffs and maybe specifically the NLCS. Let's assume for 1 second that the Brewers acquire Tarik Skubal at the deadline. What would you make a Dodgers-Brewers series price?
We're presuming this is with Dodgers home field advantage.
Sure.
Because it's pretty tight right now between those two teams for the best record.
Razor thin, I would say.
And if the Brewers get Skubal, they're certainly going to have a good chance of finishing with the best record again this year. If you got Mizorowski and Skubal, 1-2, Dodgers, we're assuming they're not acquiring a big name?
There's not much left out there, right? Maybe Peralta's the ad, but it's still not
going
to be.
Not of Tarik Skubal's caliber,
Exactly.
That's for sure. I think the Dodgers are, minus 180 or so in a series price.
Now, he asked me game one earlier, if they don't get Skubal, and it's Miz and Yamamoto in L.A., game one of that series, what are the Dodgers? Are they a meaningful favorite, slight favorite? Where do you kind of put them there?
This one fascinates me.
Just for a game one?
Game one, yeah.
Both teams are healthy.
With Miz pitching well, Yamamoto pitching well. They've gotten to the NLCS. What would the number be?
I'm thinking we'll hang Dodgers about minus 130. Come back on the Brewers in the plus 115 to plus 120 range.
Yeah, I was going to say that we were a little bit higher on the Dodgers, but also at the same time I said I don't think you can make Mizorowski higher than plus 120 ever, can you? Against anybody.
I think he's capable of shutting down any lineup, and I don't know that the stage would be too big for him to be pitching against that Dodger lineup in an LCS game. So I respect this Brewers team. They've demonstrated now over a large sample size that they don't have the biggest payroll and maybe not the biggest names 1 through 9 in the lineup, but they win. And then we know it didn't go well for them in the playoff series last year. 1 run in each of the 4 games, getting swept. But different story with Mizrowski and maybe a guy like Skubal and what they might have learned from last year as well.
Any bad results for the books to win the World Series right now?
So we were in a decent position on the Brewers, not a good one. It recently became worse. So right now, I'm trying not to offer an attractive price on the Brewers because we do have liability to them. People are mostly lining up on the strong NL teams. So the thing that's resulted in is we do extremely well to the Rays. You know, they're in first place in the AL. They just keep winning. I think you got to respect their chances of making it to the World Series. So I'm just kind of accepting that the NL positions might not look so hot, but we should have a team like the Rays that would be a great result for us and has a great chance of making it all the way.
Who's good in the American League other than them?
That's the thing.
Who knows?
It's so balanced.
Yeah.
And whoever has, healthy pitchers, healthy lineup when it gets into the playoffs, that's probably the team that you're going to look to as having the best chance. I know people probably will think that the Yankees should be the favorite. They are the favorite. And if they're healthy with Judge back and Max Fried and Garrett Cole in the rotation, that they ought to make it to the World Series. But, we got to see them make it through to that point.
Great spot as always, Chris. Thanks for coming in today. We appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. Chris Bennett, Sportsbook Director here at Circa Sports. This is Follow the Money. We'll continue with tonight's Major League Baseball card, and I'll tell you about a player who is owned tonight's starting pitcher. Next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, so here's the player, getting to it immediately here, who has owned tonight's starting pitcher. It is Jose Altuve as the Rangers take on the Astros, and Nathan Eovaldi goes for Texas. In his career, Altuve, 16 of 42, a slash line of 381, 395, 929, 9 extra base hits, and 7 home runs. Altuve, though, not exactly having the best year of his career.
No, he's not, but that means you get some nice prices.
Yeah.
Altuve, if you don't want to go in and you want to hunt around for some base props or homer props. I do like the over in this spot. 7.5 feels a little bit too low for me. Eovaldi, Eovaldi and Brown both coming off good starts. It feels like that's affecting the number quite a bit. The 3 previous starts, both these guys have not been great. Brown's had a problem with walking people recently. Both of these offenses, while they are not amazing, can at least put a couple of runners across here. I think 7.5 is about call it 0.75 runs too low here.
Okay.
I think we should be kind of in between that 8 and 8.5 number. So I like the over tonight.
Very good. Right now, underway in Cincinnati. It's Pittsburgh and the Reds going at it. It's a good pitching matchup tonight, obviously. Hunter Green hasn't pitched that much this year. His numbers are terrible, but he's a really good pitcher overall, taking on Paul Skeens. What, at this point, I don't have a bet on this game, but what do you make of Paul Skeens overall? Like this year compared to the rest of his small career that he's had?
It's tough. I mean, because it's a 2-part question. Like, what do I think of him as a pitcher? I think that he's getting too creative. I think you're seeing him throw 7 pitches too often. Let's just go back to throwing 4 really good pitches and not worrying about this 5th, 6th, and 7th pitch. From a pricing perspective, I think he's a fascinating player to look at because I still think he's overvalued in the market compared to what he is pitching right.
I agree.
And so you have to pay a Skeens price. And before you were paying a Skeens price, but he was dominant when you were paying the Skeens price. Now you are paying, we'll call it like a diet Skeens price, but you're still not getting diet Skeens results here. And so it's hard for me to get excited to back him. I have generally been either fading or passing. This one I did not go in either direction because the Reds aren't very good and Hunter Green is not very efficient sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of inconsistent, and so it's hard for me to get excited about backing the Reds.
That's the thing. I was not going to lay a price here with Skeens in this game tonight. And on the road, for what it's worth, his numbers are worse than when he's at home. I mean, and again, this year, maybe this is an outlier, and maybe he comes back to like his Cy Young self next year. I don't know. and maybe he'll dial it back with the, quote, creativity like you were talking about. But on the road, the ERA on the season, 3.99. At home, 3.44. The whip is 1.14 to 1.0, and 9.5 Ks compared to 12 Ks per 9 overall. So that's the biggest difference, I think, in those numbers. Half a run per game, you might not think is the biggest deal of all time. But the reason why I couldn't pull the trigger on Hunter Green is, you're right, he has not been great at all this year. Small sample size here, but overall, it doesn't matter where he pitches. The ERA is at 7 on the season.
Well, he's loaded the bases up in the first, too, so not a great start here for Hunter Green. The funny part, you list off those Skeens numbers. 95% of the pitchers in the majors would love him?
Oh, no question.
But it's Paul Skeens, and the name attaches a value when you are betting these games. And when Skeens' name is up there, the value is hard to find right now anytime you want to bet him.
Yeah, because he's a sub-2 guy with the ERA in his career, and now that goes up on the road by a full 2 runs. Like what were the Pirates today if Paul Skeens was Paul Skeens from last year?
Well, that's the thing, right? So today they were, minus 125-ish?
Yeah, close around that neighborhood.
Right around that number. I mean, if he was Skeens of last year, what are they, minus 150, minus
Probably.
160, somewhere in that range? So is 2 runs 40 cents? I would argue it's more than that. I would argue they probably should be somewhere around minus 110, minus 105 in this game with the current Skeens version. But again, it's, do you like the other side in Hunter Green? And we both said no.
No.
So far, it's a good decision.
It is a good decision. Sometimes the best bets that you make are the ones that you don't make, actually. And that's a 2-run single right there. I think it was from Gonzalez right away. So the Buccos here out to a quick 2-0 lead over Cincinnati. Hey, look at this. They're actually getting Paul Skeens' run support.
Yep.
Which rarely ever happens the way it seems.
Yeah, Green's 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 K here through 2/3 of an innings. Runners on first and second, 2 in already for the Pirates. It's going to be interesting to see. This is the other part of it. We talked about the Bears and the turnover and like the regression that you saw, and that there are certain times where you can kind of apply different levels of what regression is going to look like. Kind of feels like Skeens is due for some regression here.
I think so, probably.
That you're not going to end the year with this ERA. You're going to get a little bit better version of him moving forward, and that's why the price is where it is everyone is expecting that you're not going to get the same Skeens you've seen for the entire, first 110 games over these last 50-plus games.
Do we think the Red Sox dominating run continues? Now, they're in Chavez Ravine tonight taking on the Dodgers, but this is Suarez going. Henriquez is going for the Dodgers tonight. Dodgers are laying $1.30 here at Circa.
I mean, it's Dodgers or pass for me. Whenever these teams get on these runs, I'm always the guy that's like, no, I don't want to pay the inflated price because they've won, 23 of the last 26 games, whatever, 22 of the last 25. I'm someone who will generally bet into streaks versus bet on streaks because I believe the pricing goes in the wrong direction, and all of a sudden you're getting value going in the other side. I didn't bet the game. I made the Dodgers minus 132, so I'm like right where the pricing is, and so there's a little value on the Red Sox in my mind, but it's not really enough to think about getting involved.
Okay, a very small sample size here, and I really would not bring this up typically, because we're talking about 16 at-bats by Freddie Freeman, only 10 for Mookie Betts, Alex Call, 12. But I will say those 3 players have hit Suarez relatively well in that very small sample size of time. Does it mean anything tonight? Maybe not.
Maybe not. I mean, I do think that if you're playing like DFS, you can lean into some of those stats even on a small sample size. Generally, what I've seen is if you look at the market, you're already seeing that built into the prices by the time you get to the morning of a game on starter-batter matchups. And so it's hard for me to try and jump into the prop market there if I want to go that direction. But I do think there is some value there if you're looking to build daily fantasy lineups.
How do you think the National League MVP is going to play out? We've talked about it quite a bit this week. Plenty of odds moving again. I'm holding on a ticket. The reason why I ask, I have PCA at 80 to 1.
Yeah.
So I have surrounded that bet with other guys like James Wood at 50, Abrams at 150, Miz at 200 to 1. I also added, when Ohtani got to -1, I can't lose, I don't think, at this point. I took a couple of units, put it on Ohtani at -130. But overall, I think as of today, I think it still goes to Ohtani. But how do you think it plays out the next 2 months?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like if you look at the body of work right now, it's still Ohtani's to lose. I think PCA has the most legitimate chance to do it because we have seen him play so good after starting out so poorly that if he can keep up the pace that he has, his stats are going to line up. And I'm still in the boat that this is a Dodgers team that doesn't care about the regular season and that could start showing itself in different ways as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. You get rest days, time off, 6 arms, 7 arms instead of 5. Like I think that you're going to see the Dodgers tweak their lineup consistently to make sure that they are 100% for the playoffs, and that gives more credence to guys like PCA. Wood's season's been incredible.
Amazing.
But the Nats are the Nats. And so that's where you go into that conversation of, is the storyline there? Is the narrative fit on top of just the performance by the player?
Sure. They would have to make the playoffs,
Right.
I would imagine. But the numbers that he is putting up along with C.J. Abrams are just absurd.
50-1, most wins this month.
Are you going to bet it?
No. I don't. I have not done the research into that market. I hear everyone talking about it. I would love to start doing the research into it, but for me, it's
you know what this is like?
It's a tough one.
This is like playing in Circus Survivor. Not to that level, because nothing is to that level overall. But once you start playing most wins in a given month for baseball,
Yeah.
and if you come close, like right away, you're going to be like, "God, this is awesome." It's my favorite way to bet the sport.
Imagine a monthly baseball survivor. Pick one winner a day.
Oh no, I can't. No, with the beats in this game, no chance. By the way, how do you approach betting baseball the final 2 months overall on a daily basis with football? Because you're adding more stuff like win totals, division bets, maybe a couple of awards, college football, the whole thing. Do you? I know. In fact, one of my Survivor partners takes all of July. He lives next to Saratoga, so he only does horses. He does not bet on baseball in the month of July.
Yeah, my baseball, it's very bell curvy, right? Where you got the little bit at the start, it goes up in the middle, and then it dips down. And then I don't really bet the last once football starts. I'm dialed in. I mean, because at this point, we have hundreds of days in a row of football, it feels like, where you have a college game, an NFL game, something going on. I love betting the NFL preseason. I think that's one of the best markets you can play because it's an information market in a lot of ways, and you can get some great numbers on first quarter, first half when you find out who's starting in those markets. So a lot of my efforts, which would go into trying to figure out, okay, what do I make this game? What do I make that game on the baseball side, is just spent churning through what am I going to do in these football games? And I bet more on football than I do baseball
So do I,
from a
yeah.
unit size.
Right.
And so
right.
if I'm betting football, I want to make sure the majority of my focus is there.
I'm glad you said that because not like all unit sizes are the same.
No.
I will fire on the WNBA. A WNBA unit size is a specific unit compared to an NFL or a college football unit.
Yeah.
To me, they absolutely vary.
Oh, even my college football units are lower than my NFL ones.
Are they?
Yeah. I college football to me, especially early in the season, and college basketball is the same road. It's so hard to really feel like I have a good grasp on what any of those teams are.
Well, especially nowadays.
Because you've got all this movement. You've got, the coaches are moving, the players are moving. Is this quarterback going to fit with this roster? It's just so many different question marks you have to deal with.
For the total unknown for the most part.
Yes. Well, you can make numbers, but it's not.
Well, but
you adjust
don't.
a lot more early.
Yeah, you don't, because really having a grasp on how all this movement is going to look from, you really don't know. You have an idea, but
it's tough. Basketball, you don't know.
No,
Football,
no.
you could try.
Yeah, right. Uncle Lou Finocchiaro next always brings the heat this time of year with his favorite win total in the National Football League. We're all going to go in fresh. I can't wait to hear his best win total of the season coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Building those NFL and college football portfolios, a tradition unlike any other in July and August. Maybe even if you want to go back to like June some years, I should say.
I definitely had MVPs in June before.
I think I have as well, yeah. Well, how about 2020, the pandemic? With nothing going on?
You never know. You got to get something going.
I had way too much NFL, probably like in May and June that year.
It's funny how that works.
We go out to the progressive guest line here, longtime friend of the show, Uncle Lou Finocchiaro, typically on the program to talk UFC. Not today, my friends. His best bets in the National Football League with win totals. Hey, Lou, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Mitch. Mike, really appreciate you guys having me on. This can be an entailed breakdown. I'm going to do my best to keep it simple, concise, and informative.
No, don't do that. Now, this is the fifth year you've done this. You're 3-1 overall. Typically, very easy winners. Last year, a death by 1,000 paper cuts because we went on like an 8-minute rant against the Bills, and it was absolutely fantastic. And they blew week one. Well, the Ravens blew week one against Buffalo, and you lost it by a hook. So that's your one loser in the last 4 summers come on with us. We're all going in fresh to this. My guess was the Bears. Who is your favorite? Bears under, but who is your favorite win total for this upcoming season?
Yes, this year it's the Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to take them under. I'll get to the bets at the end because I want to try and just run through the reasons why I'm taking this. And the first real reason is that Seattle last year and this year are going to be really, really different on offense. And it revolves around this handicap, the loss of Kubiak, the loss of quarterback coach Janako, and the loss of receiving game coordinator Rick Dennison. Now there's 32 teams and 3 coordinator and head coach positions across the NFL. This year there's like 24 coordinator and head coach. That's about a fifth. That's a lot of turnover. And for a guy like Darnold, who had as fragile statistics last year, to have to now lose his coordinator, and oh, by the way, this will be the 9th year that Darnold has a new offensive coordinator, and wow. Losing a guy like Kubiak is really going to hurt. So here's why it's going to hurt. Last year, the Seattle Seahawks had an amazing rate of early success. They used aggressive play calling, drilled execution, and they used a high rate of 12 personnel with Kubiak as opposed to the high rate of 11 personnel they had used the year before. And yes, the Hawks were 3rd in scoring. However, their offense had flaws. They were 9th in offensive success rate. They were 18th in EPA per play, 21 in red zone efficiency. Last year, the Seattle offense relied heavily on the big play. They exceeded all expectations when trailing last year. In fact, when trailing last year, they won 70% of their games. NFL average, 36.8. The offensive strategy and scheme is now going to be changed. Let's not forget that they traded their top MVP running back to Kansas City. The other running back, Charbonnet, is coming off a knee. And yeah, they say he's going to be ready for week 1, but you must protect the player against himself. These guys are all rushing back too fast. Mahomes, the poster boy for that, but we're talking about Seattle. Last year, the offensive scheme that's gone, 3rd in scoring, 4th in 20-yard plays. The Seattle offense excelled in aggressive long plays last year. I think that's all going to go away with a weak offensive line, a new coordinating system, and gone are the 2 running backs for them. Let's just talk a little bit about Darnold. Last year, Darnold, 2nd most intercepts of any quarterback in the league. He had the highest amount of fumbles, and he had the 2nd most lost fumbles. That should not change. Darnold's been shaky with the ball wherever he has gone. Seattle has the 10th most difficult strength of schedule based on team totals in the NFL this year. And while that defense is stout and stoic and really renowned, last year the Seattle defense, EPA, was the highest rated defense they've tracked in 25 years. There has to be regression there, and especially since the Seattle offense is not going to be what it was the year before. It's going to put way more pressure on that defense. Seattle plays the AFC West this year as a set of teams that they had to play. Last year, they played the AFC South. Well, that's a big difference. This year, Seattle has to face the NFC East, and last year they played the NFC South. Again, another big difference. After the Week 7 bye, here's Seattle's schedule. San Fran, Dallas, the Giants, and that's off a Monday night game against Dallas, so a short week. Philadelphia, the Rams, Carolina, and then the Rams again. Off a Super Bowl, offensive continuity shaken, new coordinators, new running backs, a wide receiver room that I think is average or just better, and then the 9th offensive coordinator for Darnold in the last 9 years, all spells to me an easy approach to fading last year's Super Bowl winner, and I'm going to take him three ways. I'm going to take him under 10.5 minus 105 for 105 to win a unit. I'm going to take him under 9.5 plus 160 for a unit. And I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to take him under 11.5 at 2-1. I'll just put a unit there to just grab a little extra juice. I'm not trying to be greedy. I'm trying to be aggressive.
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting teams to me, Lou, when you look at this, specifically because not just what you mentioned with the adjustments to the offensive coordinator side, the defensive losses, you also look at what Sam Darnold did 2 years ago when he had KOC as his offensive coordinator. He's been in elite offensive minds for 2 years now. It's going to be interesting to see when he moves away from that and you look at this other situation. Now, are you looking at any other ways to fade this team by, let's say, betting the Rams to win the division? Or is there anything else that you can find creative ways to go against the Seahawks this year?
Yeah, at this juncture, those three will start me. I don't look at positives on teams yet, so I'm not thinking about any team to win a division or do something. But hey, we have to understand that division with Seattle has San Francisco, has the Rams, and everybody loves the Rams. That's a team we can discuss later. And then there's the Cardinals. There's a team I'm trying not to talk too much about because I'm not afraid of them a bit.
Yeah. How many other win totals do you have as of right now? That's clearly your best bet, the Seahawks, under all those numbers you just talked about. Which other teams are you looking at, or have you fired on, if you don't mind me asking?
That's fine. No, I fired on one other, and that's under on the Ravens 11.5. Again, whole new coaching staff, whole new scheme for the quarterback. Without question, the quarterback's one of the most athletic guys around, but this is 7-8 years in the league. He was battling injury all last year, and now we're going to tell him maybe he isn't the runner that he used to be. We have to protect his health. Makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that he's not a pocket quarterback, and he's never going to be, and that's not going to work. And I see real trouble in Baltimore this year.
Okay.
Those are the two that I have bet to date.
Too strong. By the way, follow up on what Mike asked you a minute ago. Sorry. And that is, would you think about adding Seahawks to miss the playoffs at a nice plus price?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm going under 9.5. And that NFC, I think you got some teams in the NFC that could surprise, namely 4 of them in the Central. Maybe not Green Bay, but 3 of them in the Central.
Now, you also mentioned during the break you don't like to bet toward the upside right now. So you're basically playing unders, playing nos to the playoffs. When do you start looking at playing teams toward the over? When do you think that shift starts to happen for you?
I come to Vegas on the 7th of September. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th, the season starts Wednesday the 8th. By that afternoon at 4 o'clock, I will have my positives bet.
Okay. Do you have a... No, go ahead.
I really like to wait until I know what the final roster is, what the injury situation is, and nothing's going to surprise me. I don't like surprises.
You can follow Lou on X at GamLou. Great write-ups as always for the UFC, which we'll talk about with him down the road, but at vsin.com. And his podcast is called About Business as well. Lou, great as always. Thank you.
Mike, Mitch, thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. Good luck, everyone.
The Super Bowl champs, his favorite win total under every which way but loose.
Well, it makes sense, right? New OC, that was a big part of that offense being successful. We saw them not be successful with this head coach, a different OC 2 years ago. Darnold, obviously a big part of that. Is he going to be the same? And then I agree with the running back situation. He didn't even mention like what Price is going through. He's apparently not started the camp out hot. Like he's having trouble with pass blocking. Running back could be a much bigger issue for Seattle this year.
Follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Will go over our best bets with in-pocket plays coming up next.
Was on coke if his girlfriend was not done.
These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's, unborn children on the these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
July was going so swimmingly. Been a bad week, rough week here for me. Giving back a bunch of units. My apologies. 3 losers for the most wins in July. Brewers, Rays, and the Giants. Congratulations to Gil and everybody else who had the Boston Red Sox. I wonder, by the way, Chris Bennett said that they got kind of hammered on the Red Sox this month. I wonder if people were just betting them on a daily basis as well.
I mean, you'd think so. A lot of people have been very chatty about this run that they've been on.
Yeah, okay.
It seems like they've been a very heavily backed team. And I know quite a few bettors that had them rated very highly before the season.
Yeah.
So once you start seeing that momentum for them, they started to adjust their price pretty aggressively to the positive.
Yeah. Okay, so here are my pending bets right now for the upcoming NFL season with some win totals. I'm on the Lions over 10.5. I laid 15 cents with that. Plus 180 to win the division as well. It comes down to the schedule is New England from nothing is New England from last year, but this would be the version along with the Saints of the easiest schedules in football, and I love their personnel. It's going to be. I haven't bet him because the number's too short, but if he stays healthy, Gibbs is on. Gibbs could go for you name the number. Paul Charchian brought up 2,500 yards from scrimmage to me.
So are you interested in looking at Gibbs on alternate things? Like if you're looking at player props, alternate yardage, leading the league in yardage, most yards first 4 weeks?
Do you know of books that offer like alternate yards?
There have been a couple of them that have in the past.
Then now we're talking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, I know that they were available in places far, far away. I'd have to do some investigating to see if they're available in other spots.
This is his career year.
Yeah, I would also be interested to see what the pricing is because everyone
Yeah,
expects
right.
this to be his career year, right?
But here's the thing: I can't bet plus 650 offensive player of the year.
That's not where you need it to be.
July
But-
31st, not betting that.
So what? Fast futures, first 4 games rush yards plus 750. Not even 10-1. Yeah, it's
Not even 10-1.
not even 10-1. He's getting hammered.
Yes, he is. I'm on the Saints as well, plus 265 to win the division, over 7.5 wins. I've documented that many times. And also, I'm glad Lou brought that up about Green Bay. Clearly, he doesn't like the Packers in that division when he made that comment in the previous segment. I'm on the Packers under 10.5 wins. I laid a price under 10 wins. And I'm probably going to, I haven't done it yet. I might do 9.5 under, but the number's like plus 110, 120 maybe out there. So I'm anti-Green Bay this season.
I picked Green Bay to make the Super Bowl last year. I am out on Green Bay this year.
Well, they were 9. Adam Chernoff likes Green Bay this year.
Does he?
Came on the show yesterday. He reminded us they were 9-3-1.
Yeah.
Had a double-digit lead at Denver. They blew the lead. Parsons was out for the year. They never won another game.
It was not the ending that they would have liked. They're getting Tucker
No.
Kraft back at some point. He is going to start on the PUP list. You're going to have Parsons back, hopefully fully healthy at some point. But they have lost some of the receiving side of it, so we'll see what this team looks like when they're able to get going. The offensive line is going to be the most important thing. They need to keep Love healthy.
They have to, and it's a really bad going
It's
into the
not good.
season.
Yeah.
And also, can I ask the question, is Josh Jacobs going to play football?
Maybe. We'll see.
I think that's a huge,
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I have been making the argument that the Bears should be the co-favorites in this division at worst. And there you're seeing the Lions at plus 170. The Bears are plus 305. Packers are sandwiched in between them.
Yeah,
I would rather bet the Vikings to win the division than the Packers to win the division.
So would I. Yeah, at the numbers available, no doubt I would rather bet them. Yep. So those are my bets for the as of right now, NFL.
Got 2 bets in baseball today. Give me the Rays, minus 130, taking on the White Sox. Love to bet against Feedy, who's on the mound here, so we're going to go with the Rays at minus 130 here. I thought this would be closer to minus 145. And then give me over 7.5 with the Rangers and the Astros. You got 2 pitchers here in Evaldi and Hunter, who both coming off very good starts. But if you peel back the onion past that one start, neither have been that good, and this total is just way too low for me. I thought this should be sitting closer to 8.25, so we'll take the over 7.5 Rangers-Astros as a second bet. I do like the Bears to win the division at plus 305.
You did bet that one?
I have bet that one, yes.
Very good, Mike. By the way, Winner's Circle Proxy. How about this? Sunday is the last day to enter. This is an incredible offer. And VSiN giving away 2 prize packages that will put 2 lucky fans into the world's biggest football contest for free. But the window closes on Sunday. One winner is going to receive a $1,000 entry into Circa Survivor. Another will win a $1,000 entry into Circa Million. Both winners also receive a full season Winner's Circle Proxy service, a VSiN Studio Tour, and a free month of VSiN Pro. Entries close Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Visit the website winnerscircleproxy.com/VSiN and enter now. Again, that's winnerscircleproxy.com/VSIN. You had a terrific rant about TVG earlier in the show. You also pointed out that on great podcasts that you do here, part of the network, VSiN at the Track, is it the last podcast you guys did?
It was last week, or
last
2 weeks
week,
ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You went off then, 100,000 people have looked at it, right? So the feedback has been awesome on X, a couple of emails as well. I think Mike, he said that he's maybe a little bit late to the party here, but what are options now moving forward?
I mean, right now, from a viewing perspective, you're going to have TVG, which will show some races with music on top of it, but you're not going to have anybody on site. You're not going to have any interviews. You're not going to have anybody talking about the horses, the workouts, anything, just music, race. Right now, when we look at what options are available, the best out there is it's Day at the Races on Fox. It's currently a production that's co-hosted or co-produced by NYRA, which is the entity that owns Saratoga and Belmont. They have announced that they're going to pick up Del Mar as well for next year, which is at least positive news. But when you look at this, like, it's not really going to cover all the racetracks. They only specifically cover NYRA, Churchill, Oaklawn. So if you're like Gulfstream Park, Santa Anita, all those places don't exist. You do have more racetracks choosing to put up their feed on YouTube. So you can watch some of those feeds on YouTube. But again, that's one single racetrack. You're not jumping from track to track. If people want to pay for it, RTN is out there. They also have VSiN, by the way, the channel on there. If you're a monthly subscriber, so you can watch VSiN on RTN as well. But that's, again, the racetrack feeds. That's not a produced show that's going to be interviewing trainers, interviewing jockeys, talking about the races. It's just those specific track feeds. It's just one track at a time. And so there is, unfortunately, nothing that is replacing the current version of TVG. We'll see if anyone steps up, but it doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, and you said, like, in the foreseeable future, probably nothing.
Probably nothing. I mean, it would have to be the thing with TVG is that they're an ADW, advanced deposit wagering, that did not own a racetrack. And that gave them the unique ability to be able to then feature all the racetracks, because they were able to be in a situation where they played favorites, but they were not financially incentivized to specifically not play certain tracks. And so they played tracks that included, CDI entities. They played tracks that included NYRA entities, Stronach entities. Now you have all of these ADWs owned by publicly traded companies or NYRA that are all have racetracks and want you to play their racetracks on their app. And that creates a situation where they're not necessarily as willing to be able to branch out and show other races, or not going to give them the time that they should.
Brutal, man. You also sent me this. We got an email here as well, ftm@vsin.com from Peter. Does Mike think that there is a realistic chance of a racetrack in Las Vegas?
I sure as hell hope so. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition. But there was an article on the Pollock Report about a week ago that they're trying to build a new $550 million racetrack on the Strip south of Mandalay Bay, where they would have they've already got half of the money raised. The other half would come. There's a racetrack in China that has a similar style of raising money. That's how he's going to raise the other half of the money. It would run 60 days a year. Talks of either being domed or being at night racing here in the winter specifically. I think it would be huge. I think it is still a pipe dream that it actually happens, but the first stages are starting to roll out.
We're talking about 55 acres. This would be, you mentioned this, on Las Vegas Boulevard, between Mandalay. There's a lot of land out there, obviously, between Mandalay Bay and M Resort. That would be, for those of you who have been with VSiN for a long time, remember when we started broadcasting from the South Point, it'd be in that neighborhood, in that neck of the woods, so to speak. So what if it's not domed out here in Las Vegas, do you think night racing only would work for 60 nights in the wintertime?
I think you'd be able to do either nights or days. And this would be the largest purses in America. So this would be the highest cost, like the best horses would theoretically come and run in Las Vegas. They were looking at, I think it was November 1st to April 1st for the dates. So it would be the winter months. So you could run during the day in those months, right?
Sure, yeah, of course,
so you have the option of doing night racing, you have the option of doming, you have the option of doing it during the day. So all of those are in play based on when they are specifically trying to run.
Yeah, believe it or not, even though like the last month has been 115 out here and the 10-day forecast is pretty much the same. It gets cold. For people who've never been out here in the wintertime would not believe this.
No.
You need a hoodie/jacket a lot out here in Las Vegas in the wintertime.
I mean, I would come back from playing poker at 5, 6 in the morning in the winter months. You are cranking the heat in your car.
Oh, no question. You're also you're going to be on Ready to Bet this weekend with the Matt Brown here in VSiN as well. You're signing up for Circus Survivor. How many entries?
I've got the full 10 sitting in the backpack.
Got the 10. Yeah.
Cool Dads Club. We're getting back at it this year, man.
The Cool Dads Club?
That's the name.
You were originally going to have how many this year?
We were originally going to have 3, and that has ballooned up to 10. We made so we're going to have 5 for sure to the Cool Dads Club name. I think 5 others might be on there second, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great job today, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Same thing for everybody behind the glass as well. Excellent job this entire week. Stay tuned for Femi Abebefe and Will Hill take you through the VSiN primetime night with all the betting angles during live betting action. Good luck this weekend, everybody.